Right, so we got all the heads stripped out, all the valves are out, all laid up. What we can go through is valve guides. Now the guides, like I said, are the bronze bits down there, which literally guide the valve. To get these replaced there, you can push them out DIY yourself, but to put new ones in, the head needs to be heated to like 150, 180 degrees C. Those need to be very cold, put them in nicely, and then they need to be reamed out as well. Because they're sort of brass material, they're quite malleable, so when you press them in, they do distort such, so you need to ream them out so the valves fit properly. That'll be a machine shop job, which I want to avoid, so we're just going to go through measuring them, how I'll measure them. Again, back to your Haynes manual, valve guides. It's the same on the 8 and 16 valves, or 1/6s. So you've got the inlet valve is 1 mil, exhaust is 1.3, and where it says maximum valve rock, stem flush with the guide, and that means, just turn this over. More. That's just the base of the spring plate that I haven't taken out yet because they're quite awkward on these. So this just means that's the guide there. So the valve is in. When it says the stem is flush, the stem of the valve is flush with the top of the guide. So that's in there. Just put your finger up and you can feel that that's nice and flush. That's what you want to do. Unless yours are completely knackered, the valve will just hold itself there. Now what I'll do is, ideally you want a magnetic block, well not magnetic because aluminium won't stick, but some sort of block and your dial gauge and stuff, but 1 mil is a lot of play. So these are all the inlets, you've got 1 millimeter play. So that is 1 millimeter, 0.6 and 0.4, that's 1 millimeter in a feeler gauge. That's all I'm using, just simple feeler gauge. So as you can imagine, for that valve to move that thickness, that is very noticeable. I've measured this one already and it's next to nothing. You won't even get half a mil down there, so not worried. But I'll just go through the process of how I'm doing it and how you can do it, just to save you the cost of doing the guides. So I'll just set the camera different angle and I'll just show you what I'm doing on the inlets. Right, so as we see, inlet valve is where it was. The stem, which is the longest part, same as like a flower stem, the stem of the valve is flush with the guide, as I've just shown. Now, these are a bit of an angle, so it can be quite awkward. So, easiest thing I'm doing, I've done before, decent flat edge ruler, stick that on there. You've got that, you hold the ruler nice and tight on the head, just so it's sort of just touching the valve. And all you want to do is just gently just rock the valve backwards. And then you'll see the gap, if there is a gap, increasing between the ruler and the valve. And that is next to nothing. And obviously the head's cold, so once it warms up, everything expands, so it's going to seal up even tighter. And then the next stage, again, it's being a funny angle, hold the ruler flat across the head, sort of 12 o'clock to the centre of the valve, hold that again, hold the ruler nice and firm, just so it touches the valve, and again, rock it back this way. Again, there's nothing in that I'm going to be worried about, considering again we've got 1 mil of play, so 1 millimeter again is a lot of movement in that valve. So that one's fine, so I'll just go for the rest of them so I know all the inlets are done, then I'll be happy with them. Then we're going to the exhaust, and the exhausts are normally the ones that go away first, but again they've got 1.3 mil, so we'll go for the rest of the inlets and then we'll go on the exhausts. So we've gone through all of those. I'm not going to waste time changing those guides because they do not need it. Again, from the factory manual, they've got a 1mm tolerance, and the biggest I've probably got there just looking by eye is about 0.5, 0.6 if that, so don't need to change those, they're fine. So that's happy. So this inlets just need lapping the valves in and new valve guide seals. What I was doing as well, each of these valves staying with their respective ports they came out, so that one gets measured for that guide and seated and lapped in for that one all the way along, so they're all unique to their seals, guides and seats. So now I'll just switch the head around and I'll start doing the exhaust ones. So there we go, exhaust ones. Now the exhaust ones are slightly easier because the head's level, the valve sits level. So again, start with the right valve for the right, which is this side. Again, popping that in. So that's now sat there. What I have just noticed in one of the other videos I'd mentioned in the cylinder block, this line here and this one here, they're the two dowels that are on the block which help align the cylinder head. Well, this dowel was on the rear, was the one that was slightly out of line, and I've noticed in one of where the holes the head bolt goes, you can see the thread from the nut, the bolt where it's gone down actually caught the head where it hasn't been perfectly aligned. Not that it makes much difference, but there we go. So these are 1.3mm, so all you want to do is add 0.3mm onto your already mil. So where's the 0.3? There we go, 0.3. So now we've got 1.3mm, so that's even bigger still. Again, when you're doing these as well, you want to be doing it across the head, because that's the notion the valve's going to move, because the camera's turning round. That's the notion the valve is going to get pushed or wear across that ways. Again, pop your ruler on there, just touching it. Again, that's not even a mil, that's nothing, I can't even see it moving. Again, line that down, 12 o'clock-ish. Just touching the valve. That's probably 0.5 mil, 0.6 mil, something like that. So again, that's not getting changed, no point. It looks like a lot there, but once you measure it, it's well within tolerance, so that's not getting changed. So again, I'll just do the same thing. I'll go through doing the exhaust valves, making sure they're all tip top, because that'll save me a lot of hassle. Again, if you're taking cylinder heads to machine shops saying, oh, can you check that cylinder head? It sounds harsh as it is, but it's a dog-eat-dog world, it's a business world. A lot of companies go, yeah, well, it needs skimming, it needs all valve seats, it needs new guides in there because it's done 100 and whatever thousand miles, you might as well change them, we need to get done. And they might say, oh, the guides are only £2 each, you might as well get them done. And some people go, okay, yeah, well, let's do it. That could cost you a couple £100 to get all those machined, all done properly, when they don't need changing. That's why there's tolerances in the book. Books aren't expensive, they're out there, PDFs, everywhere. So, I mean, if you can't do this stuff yourself, yeah, take it to a machine shop, but just be wary of what they're saying. Sometimes you have to believe them, but sometimes, you know, they do sort of pull the wool over your eyes in a little because they want to make money. The time it will take them to pressure test the head or just run a skim over it, making sure it's flat, it's not making them any money. So if they can go, oh yeah, your valves are knackered, need new guides and stuff in there, makes them money. So just be wary of that. So I'll get on with the rest of the valves and see what we end up with. So there we go. That's all the exhaust valves checked, and good news is they don't need to be changed, so that's good. Now these do have more wear than the other because they're exhaust size. They're hotter, they're going to get wear. When you're rocking the valve this way, it's getting you 0.2, 0.3, nothing. Bear in mind it's got 1.3. Pushing it, the valve, the opposite way, you're getting about 0.8. I measured it, was the biggest I got. 0.8 is fine when you've got 1.3 to play with. So we are not worried about those. They're not getting changed, so that again saves a lot of money and a lot of time. And also when I'm measuring these, sit that back there just so I can show you a bit better. When I'm even doing it by eye, if you've got a flat edge there, and just get your eye across it, just so you can, the gap between where the ruler and the valve touches, have it so like when you're looking through it, you're looking at it on the image on the head. And then what you're doing, you're going to push the ruler just so it touches, so the light disappears in that contact point, and then that's the point you've got. So once that light disappears, you'll know you're just touching it, and then that's when you have the wiggle test. So again, all the valves are used, same ones across there. The valves, they look a bit dirty, but nothing's going to stop them getting cleaned up. So that's how you measure your valve guide clearances. Some people might say, I'll just change them because it's an old head. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Simple. The valve seats are fine, they'll get lapped in. The guides are fine. However, the rubber seals on the other side, change them. It's just pointless not changing them because it's rubber, degrades. They're like little top hats, and they've got a spring on the base and the top to keep the oil away from going in the cylinders. Like I say, you've got next to no play on the inlets. When the engine's all warmed up, that will turn down to sort of nothingness. So yeah, we're good. So all we need to do now is get on with cleaning the exhaust ports, make sure there's no cracks in there, which I doubt it. And then once you're happy with that, then it's just a set of valve seals that need installing, lapping the valves in and reassembling the head. So we are much happy with that for our waterlogged cylinder head, which looked disgusting. I'll put the before and after picture of the inlet, although the picture actually says the after and before, you'll see anyway, of how bad they were to how good they clean up. So never judge a book by its cover. It did look disgusting, but it's not. It's a fully ported, lovely, at the moment, working head. So we'll get on with cleaning those ports up because they did disgusting. That's all the exhaust valves cleaned up. And they've come up quite nice. There's a bit of stain on the head on this side, but they come up lovely. Probably see better under there. So just cleaned all those up, little wire brush attached on the drill, and then a bit of wire wool, bit of oven cleaner spray, toothbrush, looking beautiful. So all the head just needs a final going over, checking it, getting those valve stem seals out. Yeah, so looking good on the head. Much happy with that. I've got to clean a couple of valves up. The last couple of exhaust valves need cleaning up. I'll get on with that another day. So thanks for watching. I've had quite good feedback on these videos, so any questions or anything, just stick them in the comments, and like and subscribe if you want to keep up to date with what's going on with it. Cheers.